This garden is the only part of this project still alive. The app I built to manage it is dead. I killed it on this comet March 18th. The strange part, by then the app actually worked. 4 months, 21,000 lines. A clean garden app with login, plant tracking, a calendar, even an AI chat. I deleted most of it and replaced it with an agent. Around 4,500 lines, 2 weeks, and it does the job better. Two things pushed me to do that, and they're the whole video: what it really costs to finish software, and what I'd rather be doing with my evenings. November, I decided to build a proper application for my garden. Front end in Lit and Vadin, back end in Express with Prisma and Postgres, multi-provider AI so you could plug in Claude, Gemini, or OpenAI with your own key. Image storage on Cloudflare R2, web push notifications, JWT auth, the works, a real product, plant tracking, a task calendar, photo analysis, a chat assistant that knew your garden. You know the pitch going around. Describe your app, the AI writes it, you ship by the weekend. So I started building. The app existed for one reason: a mixed garden in Kokkola, Finland. 63 degrees north, which means the advice on every gardening site is useless to me. I needed to know two things, most days. When is the frost coming? And what should I do today? That's it. That was the whole job. The weekend app pitch leaves one thing out. The first version came fast. Finishing it did not. The work that took 4 months wasn't the demo, it was the boring 80%. Auth that survives a wrong password and an expired token. Empty states, loading skeletons, error handling, mobile layout, a database migration every time the schema moved an inch. None of that demos well. All of it is the actual job. And the more I finished, the more the app grew features I never asked for. A plant life cycle state machine. Over 1,000 lines on the back end alone, tracking a plant through planning, sown, seedling, hardening, harvest. Nobody opened that screen, including me. Notification infrastructure, almost 400 lines with no job to actually send anything. It never fired once. I had built a monster that did everything, and I was spending my evenings keeping it alive. Meanwhile, it still didn't tell me when the frost was coming. On March 18th, I sat down and ripped out over 4,000 lines in one commit. The lifecycle engine gone, the notification system gone, the dead dashboard gone. And somewhere in the middle of that deletion, I understood what I'd been doing wrong. I was building an application when I needed an agent. The part that actually mattered to me was simpler. I want to spend my time in the garden, not at a computer maintaining software about the garden. An app waits for you to open it and do the work. I didn't want to open anything. I wanted something that checks the weather on its own and tells me what to do, the way an experienced gardener would if they lived in my phone. I kept poking at the app for a few more hours that day. Then I stopped. The last commit on the whole project is from that same afternoon. I started over with a different shape. The first piece is a skill. A skill is just a folder of instructions and knowledge that Claude Code loads when it's relevant. Mine holds my location, my last frost date, my growing setup, my current plants, and a reference library on timing, soil, and pests. No framework, no build step, markdown files. Now, when I ask, when do I start my tomatoes, it doesn't give me a generic answer. It knows I'm in Kokkola last frost, June 15th, growing in containers under lights, and it does the math for my specific varieties. The knowledge that took database models and migrations in the app is a handful of text files here. Nothing to deploy, nothing to keep alive. The second piece is an MCP server. That's how you give the agent real abilities, like reading live data. This one exposes 7 tools: 16-day forecast, frost risk, soil temperature, daylight, evapotranspiration, soil type, and an aggregator that ties them together. Every one of them hits a free public API. Open Meteo for weather and soil. No API keys, no accounts, no bills. The whole server is 880 lines and 4 dependencies. This is the frost tool. validate the input, call the weather API, hand back the result. That's the whole pattern, repeated 7 times. The app had a multi-provider AI abstraction and secure key storage for this. The agent just calls a free endpoint. The third piece is the agent itself. The brain runs locally on the Claude Agent SDK, about 1,300 lines. It uses the skill for knowledge and the MCP server for live data. It talks to me through a small deployed service, another couple thousand lines that runs the Telegram bot and a read-only dashboard. That's where the line count goes. The whole system is around 4,600 lines across 3 small pieces. You talk to it like a person, and it keeps a clean timeline of every crop, which it fills in on its own. Now the cheap part. Only one thing runs on a schedule, a frost check every 4 hours. It calls the weather API directly, scans the next 2 days of hourly temperatures, and if a hard frost is coming, it sends me a plain alert. No model involved, 0 tokens. The language model only runs when I actually message the bot. Nothing fires it in the background. I'll admit I overbuilt this part too. I had a morning summary that woke the model up every day at 8. I turned it off. The dumb frost check was already doing the useful part for free, so the only thing running all day costs nothing, and the model runs only when I ask it something. The app would have kept a server, a database, and storage online around the clock for a job that's mostly reading a weather endpoint, and none of it asks anything of me. It runs in the background while I'm outside, which was the whole point. So, side by side, the app, 21,000 lines, 50 dependencies, 4 months, and it worked. That's the part I want to be honest about. The app was fine. Finishing it was the expensive part, and that cost is exactly what gets left out when someone tells you an app is one prompt away. The agent system, around 4,500 lines, 13 dependencies, 2 weeks. It runs every day, it comes to me, and it still gives me a clean dashboard of the whole season. Look at the difference in shape. The app's assistant is a chat box. You open it, you ask, it answers 10 times a month. The agent sends me the frost warning before I've thought to look. So, the 2 things I told you about at the start. 1. The expensive part of software isn't building it, it's finishing it. The auth edge cases, the empty states, the migrations nobody demos. My app worked, and finishing it still cost 4 months. That's the bill the one prompt app pitch never shows you. 2. I didn't actually want an app. I wanted my evenings back. A monster with every feature pulls you to the screen to maintain it. A small agent does the job and leaves you in the garden. Apps aren't the enemy. Some problems really do need one. But before you reach for the heaviest shape out of habit, ask whether a skill, an MCP server, and a small agent would do. Most days, they will. If you want to see how this is built, step by step, I put the whole thing in a free course, link below. And if your company is carrying an overbuilt app and you suspect an agent would do the job, that's the work I do at dev.inalab.com.